Okay, race fans, it's Shane from Racecentre in Bankstown, coming to you live from Entertainment Park, Milpera Road. You've just joined us for round 6 of the V8 League, and today we're at Hidden Valley, and I'm joined by a guest from Triple Crown Racing, Jack MacKenzie. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good, thank you, Shane. Good morning, good evening, and good night to wherever you may be in the world. Yes, it is, of course, time to go racing for the Racecentre V8 League at Hidden Valley, and I am very excited to be on the mic. Thank you very much for having me, Shane.
You're welcome, buddy. I hope we have a good race. It looks like it's going to be very competitive, so we might get on track and update everyone as to how the proceedings are going, and have a quick look at the championship as well. So today it is round 6 of 13. We've got 3 races, a 15-minute, 20-minute and a 40-minute race. So that's going to work out to 15 laps, 20 laps and a 38-lapper at the end. So it's very grueling at this circuit, and tyre attritions are going to be the key for a successful round today at Hidden Valley. So let's get to it. Going to go live on track. Just before we do that, we'll bring up the tyre selection availability for Darwin, as that is probably one of the key things to look out for tonight, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 2 types of rubber on offer. We've got the Dunlop soft tyre and the Dunlop hard tyre. You guys know the score with how this works if you're a racing fan. Obviously the soft tyre, it's got more grip, but it will wear out quicker, and the hard tyre will last longer, but it is not as quick on lap time as the soft. However, this race is going to be an interesting one because the track temps are quite high for this event, which means that the soft tyre could actually be rendered unusable. However, before the race, I was asking a couple of the drivers. I was asking Craig Broadbent and I was asking Gabriel Nunez if they intended to use the Dunlop soft tyre, and they said yes. So it remains to be seen if that will be the right call, but that will possibly be the story of this event. So
you're very right there. It's this track, especially being in the hot tropics in the far north, tyre attrition, especially the softs, they're going to have to really change their driving style if they're going to make that work for today's races. It is going to be tricky. We'll be able to see throughout the day. I'm sure you'll be checking out. We can see Chris McLean there with the yellow banded tyre testing out the hards, and he's just lost it on the last corner coming onto the main straight.
Yeah, he'll certainly be putting some temperature into those tyres, and that actually brings attention to what I think is going to be another talking point. So, on the surface, this track might look like a fairly simple one. It might look like one where you can just flow through every single corner. However, I think what one of the stories of this race is going to be is drivers underestimating this track, because some of the corners can be a little bit misleading, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of our drivers get caught out by that and have little excursions onto the grass and into the gravel traps because they've gotten a little too greedy during the corners. So that entire strategy, that's going to be a major factor tonight, and it'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. And, well, let's see how our drivers, such as the driver we're seeing on the screen at the moment, Craig Broadbent, is going to deal with the challenges of tonight. He is, of course, our championship leader.
Yes, we've just had word that he's actually just updated the PC, so he's had a bit of niggling issues, and he's not feeling the same vibe as what he did previous in the year, so this might affect his lap times. At the moment he is P2, only 0.2 behind Scott. We're just going to quickly go through the standings as they stand at the moment. So we've got, as you can see, Craig Broadbent on screen for Race Tech Steel. He's currently leading, just absolutely dominated the last 2 rounds, which is giving him a 15-point lead over Scott Flack, as mentioned before, and the Days of Thunder, what I like to call the Mellow Yellow racing team. So Scott Flack currently on P2, as we see on screen. Harrison Tebb in P3, and the rest, Jack.
Yes, we've got David Baker in 4th for Team Racecentre, followed by Chris McLennan in the number 3 Noble Host Racing Team. We actually saw him spinning on the Dunlop tyres out of the final corner earlier on, as he's actually just appeared behind on screen there. Daniel Opizzano, he's actually not here tonight as far as I'm aware, because I think we were discussing earlier, he has just had a child by the sounds of it.
Yes.
If that's the case there, that's an interesting one. Behind him we've got Bradley Martin for Team Navy, who, as we also discussed, is actually in the Navy, followed by Bryce Royal, who I'm not sure if he's actually here tonight.
No, he could make it with us tonight, but we're keen to see him back on track, as he's in... Well, no, he's not in P10, he's in P8 at the moment. Sorry, he is in P10. The order's just mixed around there. So Sean Stafford in P8, and Eli Newman, who is in a meeting at the moment, but said he'll be joining us hopefully for race 2. Alright, so that's the top 10 as it stands at the moment. We'll go back to the live timing to see who's who and who's quicker here at Darwin, as we see Brad Martin currently circulating in P7. Also got driver cam today, Jack, so that's working again. We'll just go there and bring up Brad Martin. Show the folks at home what Brad looks like. He's got his definitely got his race face on there, I can see. So we'll probably see him and David Baker swapping turns and corners throughout the race. So keep an eye out for those two. They, no matter where they are, they're always find themselves together like magnets. So let's see how they go tonight.
Well, yeah, actually, I will say he does have a very composed race face. I've always worried when I'm sim racing I'm pulling a funny face, but I've never actually had anybody to verify that. So that's an interesting one. But yes, we're in qualifying at the moment. It's currently being topped by Scott Flack, who has just over a 4/10 of a second lead over Craig Broadbent at the moment. So the two championship protagonists, so to speak, it's second over first at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if Scott Flack can hold on to provisional pole. And Harrison Tebb, who's third in the championship, he's third in qualifying at the moment. And Matt Collins in the Walkinshaw Andretti United car has made his way up to fourth at the moment. Actually, the top of the table is running relatively close together at the moment. The top 3 are separated by just under a second, and the top 4 are separated by just over a second. So it's all very tight at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see if that plays out in the race as well.
It's also representative of the championship as well. So very consistent with the lap times. We just saw Matt Collins take a nice old shortcut through the grass, courtesy of Jim's mowing.
Brilliant.
So I might have to relegate that lap because that wasn't kept on the track. So he'll probably fall back to his previous lap time, which is probably putting him back in P4 at the moment, as he jumped up into P3 during that session, that lap we just watched. Christian Cond, beautiful Larry Perkins livery, currently second. This is a great qualifying event from Christian. He's really struggled, Christian Cond, but he's up in P5. David Baker, currently P3 in the championship, is P6, and he's laps of 103.4. Let's see if he can get that down. Well, I've got 17 seconds to go to cross the line, so it looks like he's starting his last qualifying lap. Let's see how he goes. We know Matt Collins is in the pits. So the rest of the field,
I think we may as well keep our eyes on David Baker, because this could actually be quite a crucial qualifying lap for the Racecentre Mustang, just making his way through the first sector of the lap. Obviously qualifying isn't everything, but in a tightly contested championship it could make all the difference. So we'll just have to see how his lap plays out. A couple of the drivers are starting to head back to pit lane. They're all calling it a day for their qualifying runs. But I think it's going to be the Racecentre Mustang to watch for this final little part of qualifying, to see where everybody ends up.
Yes, he's on his last lap, but it's not going to be anything impressive, as He lost almost a full second on that first sector, as you can see in the telemetry down the bottom right. Very good on his second sector, but I don't think we're going to see a top time. No, that's almost a second slower than his best, so, or half a second at least. So that's where it's going to stand. It looks like most people are in the pits. We've still got Baker out. Looks like we've got Nunez. And that's everyone in pit lane. So let's bring up the qualifying results, Chuck.
Alrighty, so it's our championship second place holder Scott Flack taking out pole position over Craig Broadbent, who we discussed has a new PC. Did that play a part in his second place qualifying result? We won't know, but I'm sure he'd like to tell you that. In third place, it's Matt Collins in the Walkinshaw Andretti United car on the second row of the grid, followed by Harrison Tebb for the Precision 94 car. Then it's Christian Cond in the Castrol racing car, the number 8 CC Racing Team Holden ZB Commodore, followed by David Baker, who, as we just discussed, did not improve on his qualifying time and will have it all to do in the first race of the night in the Racecentre Mustang. Then it's Bradley Martin in the Team Navy Mustang, lining up in 7th place, ahead of Matthew Pritchard, who's on his debut in the number 25 Walkinshaw Andretti United car, who actually has a twin in Matt Collins in terms of livery for tonight. Following him, it's Bill Cosmo, who's making his return to the championship for a while in the V-Power Mustang, and Gabriel Nunez lines up on 10th and rounds up the top 10 in the Gabriel Nunez Racing Mustang. And that is the top 10 in qualifying.
Excellent, thank you very much, Jack. And just to round out the top 13, we do have a couple more drivers there. See if I can bring, sorry. Yep, so the next page, Jack.
Yes, so it's our other debutant. It's Marty Porter in the Martini racing car, which is a very nice looking car. That's car number 12, and that's a Commodore. Then it's Chris McClellan in the Noble Host car. He probably would have been hoping for a slightly better result, although I don't think he managed to get comfortable in time for qualifying as he joined the practice session rather late. And it's Mark Wallace in the other V-Power Mustang, lining up in 13th and rounding off the grid.
Okay, so we're about to get underway. We're going to ask the guys if they're ready. Just going to record some of the results here. Okay, so we'll just make sure with the drivers that they're okay.
Certainly hope they are okay. They're just in their warm-up as we speak at the moment. They'll be making any final preparations that they need to for the start of the first sprint race of the night. Now, this first sprint race is going to be an important one because it's going to be interesting to see if the soft tyre actually works, and it'll be interesting to see which drivers start on which tyres. As we discussed earlier, Craig Broadbent and Gabriel Nunez, they both intend to use the soft tyre, but I haven't had a chance to talk to every other driver yet, so it'll be interesting to see what different strategy options come into play and if the soft tyre will perform, because that will be indicative of the rest of the races of the night.
So it looks like the boys are ready to go. This is your grid once again. It's Scott Flack and Craig Broadbent front row. Just watch this in the turn one. This track lends itself to 5 wide, so it's all got to squeeze up to one car through at a time as we go into our lap race. Very interesting. Cars have still got a grid. They've got to set the fuel and tyres before they get on the grid. They have a full minute to get on. We can see the Martini car in the pits still setting up the fuel load there. This will be huge, Jack, as we go down the main straight. It's really going to play out. Beautiful looking field as we get ready.
It is certainly a beautiful looking field, and I think a beautiful looking field courtesy of you in some of their cases, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did have a hand in some of the paint schemes, but very, very happy that everyone's come to join in races tonight. So here we go. We've got 15 lap race. This is going to be...
We're about to go green, and we are racing at Hidden Valley. Let's see who gets a good start. We've got the two championship rivals on the front row of the grid, and it looks looks like Craig Broadbent's got a perfect start as he's already put a position on Scott Flack, and let's see if he holds it going into turn 1. It's Scott Flack round the outside. He's trying to take it back from the Mustang driven by Craig Broadbent, but it looks like Craig Broadbent's got the lead as Harrison Tebb takes it away from Scott Flack. It's not the start that he would have wanted, and now he's under pressure from Collins as well as it's all kicking off behind them. And it looks like Collins secures 4th place, but it was not the start that Scott Flack wanted as Broadbent begins to control the race, but he's already now under pressure from Harrison Tebb. It's been a great start for him, and Harrison Tebb is just trying to look for the gap on Broadbent in front of him, and he's all over the back of the Mustang in front, and it's a very, very intense race from the get-go.
Yes, it's very intense at the front. We can see the swapping turn. Harrison Tebb trying to get an early gap on the leaders behind as Scott Flack got swamped on the outside there. The inside line definitely the way to go through turn 1 on the exit, as Craig Broadbent definitely went from 2nd to 1st with ease, and Harrison Tebb has collected as well. Matt Collins is up there in P4, and Christian Conn, David Baker back through the field now in, 6th and 7th, and behind them it's Pritchard. Actually, Pritchard's up in front, no, behind Bradley Martin there. Marty Porter in the beautiful Martini livery there is in P9 at the moment, getting the grips with the Formula 1, because we didn't mention before that Marty is an old Formula 1 champion with us, and his old rival Scott Flack is further up the front. Chris McLennan struggling on those soft tyres at the moment as he's in P11 back with Bill Cosmo, and Gabriel Nunez unfortunately after a great qualifying has slipped back into P13 at the moment. We'll go back up the front, and it's still Craig Broadbent with a 103 flat, showing the pace already. There he is, new fastest lap of the race.
Oh, and here we go. It looks like Harrison Tebb spun Scott Flack. And there's a big pile up in turn 1 by the looks of things. That is not the start that a few of these people would have wanted in this race. It's all kicked off at turn 1, and it'll be interesting to see how the order's been completely shaken up by that. It looks like David Baker's found himself in P2 after all of that, so not the qualifying he wanted, but he's taken advantage of the mistakes of others early on in this race. And there's definitely a few big losers from this. Scott Flack, probably the biggest loser of all of them so far.
And Christian Conn's dropped down to P10 as well. He got caught up in the 2nd stage of that incident. Matt Collins got in the rear tail and just kept it down, which he probably should have held up a bit there, but he's up in P3 at the moment. Harrison Tebb's also dropped a couple of spots. Bradley Martin, this is just one event in turn 1, and look how it's just mixed up the whole field. Watch Scott Flack come from P6 and work his way through the front, or even try to. It's only a 15-minute race, so he's got a lot of work to do. Marty Porter, his old rival in Formula 1, is up behind him in P7.
This is exactly what I thought. Oh, and it looks like Christian Conn's had issues just in turn 1 there, so he looks like he just got away with something that could have ended very badly indeed there. But and Bradley Martin has just lost a place to Scott Flack, so Scott Flack has already begun his recovery drive, and he's actually doing quite well at the start of this race considering how it's gone for him so far. But he is a man on a mission, as it looked like somebody had just touched the ground. Oh, and it looks like... Oh, sorry, that was just a neck clip there. My apologies.
Yes, I can't see anyone off the screens at the moment. We can see in the track map on the top right-hand corner if anyone's off the circuit, or it'll flash red, I think, around the circle. So that'll give us a good indicator where the action is. But it's Craig Broadbent now 4 seconds ahead of David Baker, who's definitely usually one of the guys that gets caught up. And I think there's an issue back in turn 1 once again. Looks like they all coming through quite cleanly as Matthew Pritchard set his personal best lap of the race, but David Baker definitely capitalising there through that incident on turn 2.
Yeah, and this will all be crucial for the championship if the rest of the night plays out this way. And Baker will be trying to regain... Well, first of all, he's done a very, very good job to regain that ground in the race, but it looks like he'll possibly be gaining a lot of ground in the championship as well, if this is an indicator of how things are going to go tonight.
Yes, he's just got to bring it home for the rest of the night and he'll be able to capitalise. Harrison Tebb, I think his closest rival is right behind him, and that's where he's got to keep him. So yeah, let's see how this all pans out tonight. A lot of action for 6 laps of the first race of the first night. And we're 6 laps down to 15, so it's still Baker, Tebb, and Flack just locking up there under heavy brakes, trying to get on the back of Tebb. And he's managed to drop Martin of 3.5 seconds back there.
He's dropped Martin, but someone else who's dropping the rest of the field is Craig Broadbent, who's already put 5 seconds on David Baker. So even though he wasn't involved with it, he's actually been a major benefactor from the incident that happened down at Turn 1 just a few laps ago. As Scott Flack, he continues to chase down Harrison Tebb in front of him. He's just got to stay cool. We saw him lock up a little while ago. But he's actually, as we said, he's done very, very well to recover. But considering he started on pole, this is probably not the race that he was hoping for, as he was having a little bit of a look on Harrison Tebb going into Turn 1. But no move comes of it yet.
Okay, so it's still Flack in P4 right behind. We can see the 3 battle for second here as we've got Baker, Tebb and Flack fighting it out. We'll go back through the field. Matt Collins has dropped off from P3. He's back in P6 already. So he might have had another incident. And Marty Porter in the Martini, he's definitely picking up his pace and he's getting used to this car. And he's already up into P7. He was down a fair bit earlier in this race.
Well, yeah, he's doing well for a debutant, actually. I mean, perhaps this was just the sort of crazy race that this guy was looking for, actually, because he's managing to run in a fairly decent 7th place, and there's still quite a few laps remaining, so we don't know where he's going to end up, but it looks like Matt Collins is just starting to drive away from him a little bit. Maybe that was just because of a mistake that he might have had. He fell temporarily into the clutches of Marty Porter, and now he's just starting to drive away. But fairly solid start to his Supercars campaign for the driver of the Martini number 12.
Yes, well, he just crossed the line with a 104.6, and Porter behind him finished with a 106 flat. So definitely put about almost 1.5 seconds on him. But visually you can still see him, so I think Porter's going to see him as the little carrot he's got to chase down. As we see Tebb just squeezing up the inside. This is a great battle as we go on board with Harrison Tebb here.
Yes, but of course this battle is only going to be benefiting Craig Broadbent, who's looking to extend his lead in the championship, because Scott Flack, he's just being held up behind Tebb, and Tebb being held up by Baker, and also defending from Flack behind him is just going to be slowing 2nd, 3rd and 4th down. As they're coming down the straight now, it looks like Scott Flack is pulled to the inside. It looks like he's going to try and make a move on Tebb going to Turn 1. It looks like he's got the horsepower. It looks like he's got the straight line speed. And
see the
can
speed
he get on the stoppers?
Almost. Will Harrison Tebb come back on the inside? There he goes. That's what you've got to protect, the inside run when you go wide, and that's what happened to Flack on opening lap. And Tebb knows that, so he's come back, try to get position, but both rears lock up. So much energy built up in these cars under heavy braking. You can see that
so close to the first sector there. That could have been a plane crash had these two drivers not been careful, but of course it's high quality drivers at the front of this field as the battle rages on. Tebb on the defensive from Flack behind, and this is exciting stuff.
So we've got a yellow in sector 2. I can't see who that is at the moment, but we'll stay with this as Flack just run wide, trying to get a wide entry onto the straight. Here it goes. You watch the speed difference. See who tops out. As he's tucking under the rear there, he'll get the inside line, but again, he's really got to protect that over and under in a Turn 1. We'll see how he gets it done, whether he holds the inside. He's got to hold it nice and tight. Tebb's just there waiting to get the inside. Oh, They've done this before,
he
and
was almost turned again.
Yes, and this is what brought on the incident in the second lap. So they've managed to hold it on. Teb's always honest and, you know, holds back, but it's important to protect yourself from happening at all. As we watch Flack just move up a bit, Teb also coming into the hairpin, and there's Martin. Bradley Martin up in a P5 at the moment.
I was just about to say, all this squabbling that was happening in second, third and fourth has brought Bradley Martin back into the fray of this race. David Baker's actually starting to pull away from Scott Flack, in fact, because of all the fighting that was going on. But something tells me that Scott Flack off the road! He spun it into the gravel trap!
Oh, that's terrible news for Scott Flack. Where's he? He's dropped down into P5. That's off P1, so where's that? No, that's coming onto the main straight, so he's got unstuck. Looks like Marty Porter's moved up into P5. Well, someone diving into pit lane.
Making a move on Harrison Teb for third place. Can he make it stick around the outside? Teb's still on the inside, and it looks like Teb will just get the drive out of the corner, but Bradley Martin is not giving this up in the Team Navy Mustang.
Martin's going to get the inside.
Again.
Oh,
and Bradley Martin up into third place.
That's a terrific job from Brad Martin. He's playing it cool down the back, waiting for the latter part of the race to really attack, and that's why he's got to...
Oh, he's on the grass!
Almost lost it there on the exit of the hairpin. Oh, he's gone wide again. Can he hold it firm? Harrison Teb's all over the back. He's trying to get the spot, but Martin's got the inside line. Will he hold it? Side by side as we come onto the main straight. Oh, this is great racing. These guys have been racing together for quite a while, so they understand each other. As we know, Broadbent's almost, 7.5 seconds up the road of Baker, who's comfortable. But this is the race for third now. It's changed faces as Bradley Martin's joined into the mix, and we can see Marty Porter, Scott Flack behind him. So here they come. They've got 3 laps to go. Teb up the inside once again. He loves that position. He always sets it up entering into turn 1, but Martin's going to have the better line if they stay side by side by the next deep braking corner. Martin in the dirty track.
I will say Harrison Teb has really been testing his luck on that outside curb, just going through sector 1, and it looks like Teb stuck it down the inside, and he's taken away the position from Bradley Martin, but the Mustang's coming back. But Teb swoops around the outside and resecures third place coming into the closing stages of this race. Does Bradley Martin have an answer for him?
Well, he's dropping off a little bit. Teb's really taken a tighter line coming out of the hairpin. We'll just quickly go through the field to see where everyone's at. That's Marty Porter, P5. Scott Flack right behind him coming on the main straight. Chris McLennan moving up through the field now in P7 from the back of the field. And I'm sure he had to stop to let a couple of guys through. Christian Conn trying to relinquish some positions after that earlier incident that we saw. Matthew Pritchard, one of our debutantes, circulating in P9 ahead of his teammate Matt Collins. Gabriel Nunes has moved up a couple of spots. As we see, I think it was Mark Wallace just moving over, and Bill Cosmo, both in the shell cars. He's up in a P13 at the moment. Okay.
I will also say, I believe that Craig Broadbent has actually started to put a lap on some of the guys towards the back of the field. So I actually saw him lapping Gabriel Nunes just a couple of laps ago. Although I will say it's starting to get close for 5th and 6th as Scott Flack is pressuring the debutant, Marty Porter, and the Martini number 12 going up against the Days of Thunder Commodore. Now, Scott Flack, he's pretty much had to do 2 recovery drives in this race because he was doing so well to recover from that turn 1 incident.
And we've got Baker off in turn 1, so these guys are going to come up. Baker's just got to keep it cool, get it back on track. We've only got 1 lap to go, but he's lost 2 spots already. That's Baker dropping back. It's like
Marty Porter looks like he's gone off the road as well.
He's really struggling on the... I think we've got some oil on the circuit. Not too sure what's going on there. But Baker's definitely lost 3 spots there. So too Marty Porter in the Martini colours. So how does that look now? That's Teb up in a P2. That can't happen if you're going to climb the championship ladder. But Bradley Martin's still solid there in P3. He'll be ecstatic with that. We're on the last lap as Chris Broadbent takes us. Broadbent's just taken us around for the last lap of the race. Chris McClellan, Marty Porter in P7, Condon in 8, Collins, Pritchard has swapped positions, teammates as Wallace is in 11, Nunez 12 and Cosmo. Looks like Nunez struggling as well. I'm sure there's a patch of oil that the stewards are going to have to clean that up before the second race as we go back to the front and watch Craig Broadbent to line. He's only got a...
I will also say Scott Flack has actually gotten by David Baker, who after that turn one, I think Baker's obviously going to be kicking himself. He's just lost second place. I'm not sure if it was because of oil or maybe he just outbraked himself, but he's found himself in 5th place and that's not the result he would have wanted. But I don't think Scott Flack would have wanted 4th place either. Although there's definitely a couple of drivers who will be very pleased with themselves. Harrison Tebb, probably one of those drivers. Bradley Martin, probably one of those drivers as well as the debutant Marty Porter, who should be very proud of his 7th place if he can bring it home.
Yeah, so we're watching Flack just cross the line in P4. Baker right behind him. Chris McLennan in a close 6th position. Marty Porter, awesome job from him. Unfortunately, he blew an excellent great first half of the race and dropped a couple of positions towards the end. So that's Porter collecting P7 on his first race in the V8. Christian Conn crossing. He's had a shocker this one, but hopefully he cleans it up for the next one. Obviously not his fault as we see Collins crossing the line. And Pritchard right behind him. That's the top 10.
That was a thoroughly entertaining race, I must say. There were plenty of battles towards the front. I do think there will be a couple of drivers who will be a bit disappointed with how that race turned out. Just a couple of mistakes cost some very, very good results. But Broadbent, he had a job to do and he got it done. Perfect start, drove away from the rest of the field that started squabbling. He took a perfect advantage of that. And I think the rest of the drivers really have it all to do for the next 2 races of the night.
Yeah, so we'll bring up the results for you now. Craig Broadbent closing in P1, dominating, not even touched throughout that race. Harrison Tebb had a lot of work to do at the front there. Bradley Martin, the silent achiever, comes from the back and just cleans up for the 3rd step of the podium. Scott Flack, quite messy there for him on his standards, losing the pole position in turn 1 and losing more positions on the exit of turn 1. David Baker almost had P2 the whole race, but unfortunately with a lap to go just put in the sand trap, so too Marty Porter. Chris McLennan fought hard to come from the back of the field to get back into P6, and Marty Porter, as we said, P7. Christian Conn unfortunately got tangled up in that incident with Matt Collins earlier in the race. Pritchard in 10th. Mark Wallace Chippy in P11. Gabriel Nunez with a couple of incidents there. Finishes in P12, and Bill Cosmo in the Shell Helix finishes in P13. Alright, so we're just gonna reset the server. We're gonna extend the race to now 19 laps, and we'll come back after these messages.
Tahi, tell them about Entertainment Park.
Well, this place, it's like, it's...
My favourite place in the world!
The thing about this place is that...
It's fun for all ages, no matter what your age. You'll love it.
What I really want to say about Entertainment Park is,
They have the best go-karts plus a great cafe. Games, bowling, simulation, but the go-karts, oh my God, they are so much fun.
look, thing is that this place is...
Perfect for my birthday party. Everyone said it was the best birthday party ever. Yeah!
What I really want to say about this place is...
Just say it!
It's a fully hectic, oh my God, venue.
Finally! Entertainmentpark.com.au. And as Tahi says, it's hectic.
And oh my God.
soft tyres so we can afford to brake later. Still got 2 laps to do the job. But we love the show they're creating at the moment, just coming out of the stadium onto the main straight. Starting the second lap. Oh, and he's just blocked the inside. There he is, side by side, trying to get past. There he goes. Marty's just got to stay with him now, but he's just ran wide there. That's Scott Flack taking the lead back. That was a great move from Scott, but Marty's still in it if he stays within the DRS down the main straight. That's 1 full lap to go plus this one. So he's just got to survive this through the turns and get out within a second and get in the DRS activation zone. Still within the second, so he's not too bad at the moment. He's just starting to fall out of that zone now, but he needs to be in there with detection. When it comes to the DRS, and there it is, the 2.5 seconds, so we won't get the DRS down the main straight. He's just got to tuck in at the draft. Wow, with Scott Flack hitting so close to the end, I thought Marty Porter had it, but looks like he's done enough to take the win as they're on their last lap at the moment. We've got Scott Flack, Marty Porter right next to each other within 2 seconds. Within 3 seconds of each other now. And then we've got Robert Young in
Tahi, tell them about Entertainment Park.
Well, this place, it's like, it's...
My favourite place in the world!
The thing about this place is that
It's fun for all ages, no matter what your age. You'll love it.
What I really want to say about Entertainment Park is,
They have the best go-karts plus a great cafe. Games, bowling, simulation, but the go-karts, oh my God, they are so much fun.
look, thing is that this place is,
Perfect for my birthday party. Everyone said it was the best birthday party ever. Yeah!
what I really want to say about this place is,
Just say it!
it's a fully hectic, oh my God, venue.
Finally! Entertainmentpark.com.au. And as Tahi says, it's hectic.
And oh my God.
Essential personnel move to work now.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's joined us for race 2. We've got the grid set and we're ready to go. So the guys are gridding up now, taking out their fuel tyres. We've actually got another driver that's joined us. As mentioned before, Eli Newman has come in late, so he's joining us, one of our regulars. Now this...
Yes! Oh, sorry about that. Please continue.
Now this race is, Jack, this is reverse grid of the quali results. So you'll see the slower cars brought to the front and vice versa to the back. So if you thought there was plenty of action before, you're going to see a lot more action on turn 1 on this race.
Yeah, we saw how quick Craig Broadbent was off the line, and he'll have to apply his skills in that department this time around as well. However, it could be a very, very interesting turn 1. It might end up being like a turn 1 that we saw earlier on in the race last time, but the lights are coming on, the engines are revving up as we get ready to start race number 2 for the night. It's Wallace on the pole, and we are underway. It looks like Chris McLennan has gotten a Craig Broadbent style start and has taken the race lead almost immediately, as I believe that's Matt Collins has dropped a load of positions in the background. Oh, and Marty Porter's off in the background. A lot of drivers have just gone off. Bill Cosmo's off the road as well. Harrison Tebb's off. David Baker's gone off the road as well. Craig Broadbent looked like he ran into trouble as well. Bradley Martin as well. And April Nunez is up to 3rd, actually, in all of that. What a crazy start to this race. Looks like I was right.
Exactly. The actions are plenty already, and we're only halfway through the first lap as Chippy's out in front. McLennan's out in front with Chippy P2, Nunez 3, and Christian Con making up for the last race. He's moved up into P4 straight away. He wants to get away from all the drama, which he's done a great job of doing, as we saw all the guys, all the fast runners going off in turn 1, but they're all recovering, and this is how they're settling in. We're still going to see more action as they work themselves back to the front of the field, as we're watching Scott Flack P6 currently.
And it looks like Gabriel Nunez is starting to fall under a little bit of pressure to
Christian
behind
Conn,
him.
yes.
He's also reeling in Wallace, so we might actually see a very interesting fight towards the front of the field as Chris McClellan is starting to drive away from Wallace and Nunez, but actually it's Ford 1, 2, 3 at the moment. But absolutely a crazy start to this race as I believe that's Christian Conn is starting to reel in David Baker as well. I think we're still sort of getting to grips where everybody's actually ended up after that absolutely crazy start to the race. I'm not actually sure what started that. I'm assuming somebody just tipped another driver into a spin and it all kicked off from there as Bradley Martin just being overtaken by
Racecentre there. Yeah, I think in the first turn it's always a matter of different braking points as well, because the slower guys brake a bit earlier and then you've got the faster guys coming right up behind them. But they've got to realise they are coming up against the slower drivers, and that's the challenge, is to, you know, and the racecraft to understand, as we saw Nunez just run over in the turn one and he's got to stay there. He can't turn in front of the other drivers. He's got to wait for a clear track. As he does, he rejoins, but unfortunately he's dropped down in a P10 at the moment as we've got Chris McClellan. He'll be hard to beat from this position now as Scott Flack's his closest competitor, almost 6 seconds back.
See, I think just in Nunez's case, going off there in the first corner, sometimes the pressure of running in such a good position and the need to hold on to it can just psych you out if you're not necessarily the most experienced sim racer, and it looks like Nunez was just caught out there. But who said reverse grid races weren't exciting? It has produced an absolutely thrilling start to the race so far, and as you can see there on the screen, you can see what tyres each driver is running, and that could be a crucial strategy element in this race. It's all the soft runners at the front at the moment, but of course race 2 is a bit longer than race 1, and we don't know how those soft tyres are going to last given the temperature of the track and just given the tyre life in general. So this race is far from over. No one's position is safe, as we've just established, and I think we're in for an entertaining one. Grab your popcorn, guys. This is going to be good.
Yeah, we heard a lot of conversation after the first race on who was on hards and softs, and it definitely the guys at the back couldn't believe that the front runners actually made that whole race on softs. So I think they're experimenting here in the second race of the night to know how they're going to go in the marathon race we've got coming up after this one. So as we're watching Christian Conn moving back up into P7, just taking Baker as they come onto the main straight, yellow in sector 1. Who could that be? I think that's all cleared now. Looks like car 14, Eli Newman, stuck on the inside. He's got to stay there in the unit car.
Let's see. Turn 1, catching a few people out. Like I said at the start of the broadcast, this track can seem fairly unassuming at times, but if you get too greedy on some of these corners, it'll catch you out. And Eli Newman dropping position after position, and he is back from pretty much square one now, right back where he started in P14 at the back of the field. That is a very, very tough break.
Unfortunately, he can't rejoin there either because that's right in the driving line, so he's really got to wait for the whole field to pass, unfortunately, and he's done that respectfully. So great job from Eli Newman to hold back there as we see Chris McClellan coming round to take us into the 6th lap of the race of 19.
We do have a bit of a battle for second place going on at the moment. So Scott Flack, with absolutely incredible pace, has already caught up to the back of Mark Wallace, and he is going to be putting the driver of the Shell V-Power Mustang under massive amounts of pressure very, very shortly. And I wouldn't be surprised if Flack can get by on this lap. But it's not the only battle happening in Sector 1, as Craig Broadbent has come from the back of the field and has already made his way up to 5th, as Scott Flack making a move on Mark Wallace, and Scott Flack has secured second place. Meanwhile, Matt Collins is under pressure from Craig Broadbent as Broadbent goes through on the Walkinshaw. Holden, is he going to come back? It looked like he was, but Broadbent looks to be safely for now up into 4th place. The battles for track position are already starting on lap 6 of 19, I believe we are on.
And we can see the positions gain. The biggest mover there, Scott Flapp from the back of the field. Craig Broadbent should be making that 9 positions as he takes Chippy in, I'd say, a couple laps time. Mark Wallace Chippy definitely doing a fantastic job starting from poles back into P3 at the moment. It's a great position for him. A lot better than his result in race 1 there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking through the rest of the field to see where some of the battles are. Christian Cond seems to be under a little bit of pressure from Bradley Martin. Let's see if he can use the slipstream. But as we said at the front of the field, Scott Flack, he's pretty much come from almost the back of the field and has found himself in 2nd place, which would be really good for his championship. Obviously, he's going to want to try and win this race, but Chris McLennan has pulled out a very, very solid gap at the start of this race. Oh, and it looked like there was a car off.
I could hear that. That's Eli Newman once again. Eli Newman in P14.
And Mark Wallace has also just lost a position to Craig Broadbent as Craig finds himself in the podium positions once again. So if Scott Flack wants to pull out a little bit of a lead to his championship rival in this race, he's got it all to do in this one. But now I think Mark Wallace is going to find himself under a bit of pressure from Matt Collins in the Walkinshaw car, who's right behind him. And I don't think Collins is going to be particularly forgiving if the driver of the Shell V-Power Mustang makes any mistakes. And we'll look throughout the rest of the field to see where some of the other battles are happening. Oh, and Scott Flack has actually just caught up to Chris McLennan as well. It looks like the driver of the Noble Host Mustang has found himself in a little bit of trouble because his 5-second gap has just fallen to about half a second actually. So
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, because Chris is an accomplished driver, very speedy, but Scott Flack definitely finding his favourite track of the season so far. He's quite strong, even though we saw Craig Broadbent get away with it in race 1. He wasn't caught up in all the melee that we saw throughout the race there, but now that they've cleared out, Scott Flack really on the charge. He's currently got the fastest lap of the race with a 104 flat, ahead of Broadbent with a 104.2 right behind. Chris McLennan's fastest lap of the race as we see a Shell car in the background. Not too sure if that was Cosmo. That was Bill Cosmo.
Cosmo. I thought it might have been Mark Wallace, but he's held on to his 4th place, but he is very much under pressure from Matt Collins at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an overtake for 4th place in the not too distant future. But yeah, I think maybe Chris fell victim to a turn 1 spin. Whatever the case, Scott Flack in the SCT Logistics Commodore has caught right up to the back of Chris McLennan, and he's going to be having a tough time battling for the lead of the race. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Does Scott Flack have the straight line speed to make a move into turn 1? Chris McLennan defends to the inside, driving all the way into the wall on the left-hand side, and he's going back over to the right, trying everything he can to defend from Scott Flack. It looks like he is really, really under pressure. He'll be doing everything in his power to not make a mistake and to try and keep Scott Flack behind. But this could be an interesting one. We saw that 5-second gap.
So saw the 5-second gap now reduced to half a second there, as we've just lost Jack on the stream. We'll go through the rest of the field. Broadbent moving up to P3, reducing that deficit to down to 2.5 seconds. He's got 10 laps to get himself up the front there. Matt Collins in P4 at the moment with Chippy just behind him, cutting the grass for the Jim's Mowing Award. Pritchard doing a great job in holding P6, but he's got Baker from Racecentre Ford Mustang charging down in P7 at the moment. Baker's last lap was a 105 flat with Pritchard, a 106.4, so he's gained a second and a half on that lap alone. Marty Porter's started to recover now. As we see, I think that's Cosmo in the pit lane. That is Porter coming down the main straight with Brad Martin right behind him for Team Navy. He's currently in P9. Christian Cond, after doing well at the front there, is dropping back a little bit in P10. Nunez recovering a little bit. Harrison Tebb having an absolute shocker down in P11. P12 really struggling behind Bill Cosmo and coming out of pit lane after a fresh set. Those yellows are hard compound, opposite to Formula One if you follow the sport. So it's Scott Flack taking the lead now from McLennan and Broadbent. So McLennan down into P3, he's probably struggling on older tyres, but he could have used the time out in front to really look after those tyres for when the battle was on, but he's probably happy to drop back and settle in for P3 at the moment. As we see Pritchard up into P4, Baker and Collins. It means Collins is, he's in pit lane for another set, moving Martin and Porter up a couple of spots. Baker trying to do the whole race under the one set of tyres as it's lap 12 of 19. Trying to see if Jack from Triple Crown Racing can rejoin us in the commentary box. Having some internet issues at home there. So we'll see who's where the battle's at the moment. It looks like Martin and Porter, and Martin just getting the job done ahead of Marty Porter. Keep getting those two switched around. Okay, so there's 6 laps to go. Martin foxing, trying to go in the pits, but he's tucked back out to bring us up to about 270 k's down the main straight as they hit the brakes. 274 as he hits hard down in the second gear. Later towards the end of the race, they usually drop down to first gear just to make sure that the car actually turns in, but he's soon out in a third gear as to not burn the rears. Marty Porter in the Martini Racing livery, tribute to the old retro sponsorship. Doing a great job in his opening round with us. Christian Cond moving up a couple of more spots. And Tebb has come from the back of the field. He's ripping it up. I'm not too sure if he's actually pitted for tyres. And now he's coming back out. I think that's Collins right behind him. It is. And we know Collins on fresher tyres, so Harrison Tebb, Collins trying to go around the outside, which he gets the job done. Really smacking those tyres around. He was complaining that he wasn't getting enough top end speed, as I think Jack MacKenzie's joining back in to the stream
I
now.
was just experiencing the joys of Australian internet. Hopefully I haven't missed too much, although it looks like I have, as Flack has now taken the lead.
Yes, there's been a few movements. We can see Broadbent chasing down Flack, and he's doing a great job to hold it out to 1.5 seconds with 5 laps to go. Chris McLennan has dropped back to third in that, just 1 lap alone. Pritchard doing a great job moving into P4, and Baker's charging down hard as well as he's chewing about half a second a lap on the back of Matt Pritchard. But that's plateauing out now that the tyres are getting a lot older, depending on how much they look after their tyres towards at the early stages of the race, to see how they'll survive towards the end of the race. We saw Matt Collins come in the pitch from the front, so he's on a new fresh set of boots, and Tebb was struggling back in P13, but now he's up into P10, and we've got Nunez right behind him, and that's for position in P11.
So I'm guessing McClellan has run into some sort of issue, having dropped all the way down to third, or was he just overtaken by Craig Broadbent?
He was overtaken by both Flack and Broadbent on the same lap, so I'm sure he let that go, so as to not get caught up in that and just save his tyres and be happy to collect P3 at the end of the day, which is...
It does look like he has a relatively secure third place at the moment, as he's 15 seconds ahead of the debutant Pritchard behind him. Yeah, I mean, well, the race hasn't exactly settled down, as Broadbent is just under a second behind Scott Flack at the front of the field. Ford versus Holden, you absolutely love to see it in this type of V8 racing. But it's far from done, even with 3 laps to go. And I understand you said there was a couple of pit stops happening as well.
I'm not sure about who was going to pit. I can actually bring up who has come into the lane with our number of pit stop counter. We can see Matt Collins, the first one, and Mark Chippy Wallace, as we see Flack just lapping Eli Newman there. And here comes Broadbent. This is Broadbent. Let's go back to the front of the race. This is for the lead, ladies and gentlemen.
Crucial.
Yes.
This could be pretty crucial. It's going to be a race down to turn 1. We've got 3 laps to go, plus the one we're on. Is Broadbent going to make his move on lap number 17 of the race? He's running out of opportunities, but it looks like Scott Flack has just opened the door on the inside there. But it's going to be a fight to the finish. Ford versus Holden, Flack versus Broadbent. It's anyone's game. This is the championship fight right at the front of the field as Broadbent has a look, but Flack covers the inside and manages to maintain the lead. And it looks like McClellan's gone off in the background.
That's Noonan.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's Newman, I should say, not Nunez. That's Eli Newman.
Sorry.
Yep. So McLennan's still in P3. Pritchard 4, Baker 5. So this is a battle for the lead. We've got 2 laps to go. Yellow in sector 2. I think that's Eli Newman once again.
Eli Newman's had a tough one, actually. That's probably his 3rd spin of the race, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's keeping count. But here we go again. It's a repeat of last lap. Does Broadbent have the straight line speed? I think it's just going to be a case of who's got the best run out of the final corner, but it doesn't look like Broadbent's going to be close enough to do it this time by. Does he get a good run out of the first corner? It looks like a little bit of oversteer as somebody's gone off in the background.
That was Nunez.
That might have been Nunez in the background, just a brightly coloured car.
Here he comes.
Oh. Had a look to the inside. Looks like he's running a little bit wide as Scott Flack has just opened up the gap somewhat. We've got 2 laps to go, including the one we're on. This is going to be an absolute fight to the finish. Scott Flack has just opened a little bit of a gap to the car behind. He's secure for now, but this battle is far from over. What's the exit going to be like for Craig Broadbent in the final couple of corners? It looks like he's just gained ever so slightly.
I can see that Broadbent's really looking after his fronts. He must be struggling because you'll notice when he comes into the braking zone, he's very ginger under the heavy brakes. He wants to brake in a straight line, so that means he's got to look up. He doesn't want to burn up the fronts. You can see the car dipping down under heavy braking, but he's not attacking Flack into the braking zones of the corner. So you'll watch just here into the hard right. Again, he won't actually make any grounds. So they do the long, slow braking. They'll just pepper the car through. If they've got a couple of bars of tread left, I can see Baker's tread is falling as he's closing in on Pritchard for P4 here. We've got David Baker racing from inside Entertainment Park here at Bankstown. But it's Broadbent on the last lap. I think this is for the checkered, so...
I think honestly Broadbent's probably thinking championship here. If he doesn't have the tyres to challenge Flack, he's not going to risk it.
And
as
Porter,
that was Christian Cond.
And Porter as well, spinning on the last corner. But they're going to cross the line, and it's Flack taking race 2. Congratulations. And Broadbent behind him. That gives us Chris McLennan crossing the line in P3. Pritchard and Baker. This is for P4. Will Baker get it done? Oh, you can see the sparks coming off the front spoiler. Pritchard.
Oh, and Pritchard's off
That's
in the
Baker
final
through.
corner.
That's Pritchard falling back on the last corner. Baker definitely knows how that feels as Pritchard takes, and Martin coming around for P6. Collins with a 2-stopper finishes in P7 as we see Martin crossing the line for Team Navy. Here comes Matt Collins. And Teb collecting P8. I'm not too sure if that was as Porter and Con come together on that last corner.
What a crazy finish to an absolutely crazy race. Hidden Valley is putting on a show for us on this wonderful Wednesday night of racing. Absolutely crazy race. Flack essentially went from the back of the field, as did Broadbent, but they've come out 1 and 2, and we'll just see the full results of the race in a moment's time.
Here it is.
Scott Flack. The Scott Flack is making a little bit of ground on Craig Broadbent in the championship, although I think Craig Broadbent at the end of that race was thinking championship. Didn't have the tyres to overtake Scott Flack, so it's the Mellow Yellow Racing Team number 46 that takes the win for race number 2 at the night. Then it's Craig Broadbent in second place, as we discussed. Chris McClellan for Noble Host is in third place. That was a pretty good drive from him. It's David Baker in fourth place, followed by Matthew Pritchard in fifth. It's Bradley Martin for Team Navy in sixth, followed by Matt Collins in seventh place. Harrison Tebb in eighth. He might have hoped for something a little bit better, but then again, it was a crazy race, and there was certainly some people who got caught up in incidents that they most certainly did not want to be caught up in. It's Mark Wallace in ninth place, and Marty Porter in the Martini number 12 rounds off the top 10.
And finishing in P11 is Gabriel Nunez with off track. Christian Conn falling back into P12, unfortunately, with Bill Cosmo and Eli Newman with limited practice having a couple of struggles there in race 2. So we're going to sort the grid out for race 3. This will be the combined race results of the first 2 races, and we'll sort that out and we'll come back to you after these messages.
There's a new whiskey in town, one that embodies the strength and character of our people, that dares to do it our own way, crafted by a master distiller to create something uniquely Australian. Ned, Australian Whiskey.
Alan's back in the Monster Energy car and he's currently in P2. Thomas Foster, who's nailing the other leagues, Aussie Sim Wars and Down Under Series. Him and Daniel Bertasano from CSR Racing are definitely proving a force in those leagues as well, so keep an eye on them tonight. Daniel Bertasano is actually our defending champion from the 2020 season. He's showing already P1. Peter Foster, it's been a bit of a break, but he's looks like he's improved. P5 at the moment, just tried some bits. Father of Thomas Foster, P4 at the moment. He's racing with us from New Zealand. This is his first night with us, and welcome him. Got 5 minutes to go in the qualified session. Jake Elder racing with us from inside racing second car. We've actually got a private cam on Jake at the moment. That's Jake in store. With the restrictions, we've got to wear the face mask, which is a bit restricting, but the boys don't have a problem with it, so that's all good. Just going to work on bringing up the track map at the moment, so we can.
Tahi, tell them about Entertainment Park.
Well, this place, it's like, it's...
My favourite place in the world!
The thing about this place is that
It's fun for all ages, no matter what your age. You'll love it.
what I really want to say about Entertainment Park is,
They have the best go-karts plus a great cafe. Games, bowling, simulation, but the go-karts, oh my God, they are so much fun.
look, thing is that this place is...
Perfect for my birthday party. Everyone said it was the best birthday party ever. Yeah!
What I really want to say about this place is...
Just say it!
It's a fully hectic, oh my God, venue.
Finally! Entertainmentpark.com.au. And as Tahi says, it's hectic.
And oh my God.
So we can afford to brake later. Still got 2 laps to do the job. But we love the show they're creating at the moment, just coming out of the stadium onto the main straight. Starting the second lap. Oh, and he's just blocked the inside. There he is, side by side, trying to get past. There he goes. Marty's just got to stay with him now, but he's just ran wide there. That's Scott Flack taking the lead back. That was a great move from Scott, but Marty's still in it if he stays within the DRS down the main straight. That's one full lap to go plus this one. So he's just got to survive this through the turns and get out within a second and get in the DRS activation zone. Still within the second, so he's not too bad at the moment. He's just starting to fall out of that zone now, but he needs to be in there with detection. When it comes to the DRS, and there it is, a second and a half, so we won't get the DRS down the main straight. He's just going to tuck in at the front. Wow, with Scott Flack hitting so close to the end, I thought Marty Porter had it, but looks like he's done enough to take the win as they're on their last lap at the moment. We've got Scott Flack.
Non-essential personnel will leave the grid now.
Okay, welcome back. Race 3. We're going to go through the grid now before we get into this 30-lap race.
And here we are. Oh, sorry, continue.
Yes. From results, it's Craig Broadbent, Scott Flack on front row, Chris McClellan and David Baker behind them. Jack.
Yes, it's Bradley Martin in 5th place for the Team Navy team, and following him is Harrison Tebb in sorry about that. And then it's Christian Condon P9, followed by Mark Wallace and Gabriel Nunez in 11th, and Bill Cosmo in 12th.
Okay, so they're lining up. Eli Newman will be starting in P13. We'll get going. Race 3, final race of the night. We've reduced it to 30 laps. And revving, here we go.
Waiting for the start of the race now. This is where it all gets decided for this round, and we are racing at Hidden Valley. Who's gotten a good start? It looks like Harrison Tebb has made a brilliant start and has gotten past David Baker at the start of this race, and is actually having a look at Scott Flack for the turn 1, but he gets tapped from behind by one of the Walkinshaw cars, and he's off in the gravel. It's another crazy start to the final race of the night at Hidden Valley, and who are the big losers to there? It looks like Baker, Martin and Newman have all suffered at the start of this race. And Matthew Pritchard has spun around. There's pile-ups everywhere. And the two Shell V-Power cars are in it. It's the Monster Energy car spun around as well. What a crazy... Oh, it continues as well. Christian Conn's in it as well. What has gone on here?
This is an absolute mess.
Indeed. And who's actually ended up where? So Craig Broadbent still on the lead of the race. Chris McClellan is up to 2nd. Scott Black is in 3rd place. It's all fairly civilized up towards the front. Harrison Tebb's had a good start. Gabriel Nunez has found himself in 5th place at the start of the race. Cosmos in 6th. Pritchard, I know, was involved in quite a few shunts there. What on earth is going on in the first sector of this race?
There'll definitely be some protests and busy in the stewards room after this race. Once again, I'm just going to send a message to Pritchard to clean up his act. That's just not the sort of driving we want to see here at Racecentre. That's not on.
Oh, one of the other Shell V-Power cars has just been turned around, and there's a Walkinshaw car doing a jump. We'd have to see who that is. There's a couple of Shell V-Power cars, there's a couple of Walkinshaw cars in this race, so I'm not entirely sure who that was. But it's all kicking off. But the craziness has continued all the way to lap 2. Bill Cosmo's off the road there. He's in 6th place. Surprisingly, doesn't seem to have actually lost all that much.
It looks
Wow,
like Matt Collins has switched cars from Holden to Ford in that one. So we know that Walkinshaw's not Christian Collins, Matt Collins there.
Yeah, I was wondering where this car was obviously driven by Cam Waters in real life, but I was wondering where it had actually come from. I just know it was involved in the opening scuffles of the race, so it'll be interesting to see who else is involved with incidents.
It's pretty much been involved in every incident tonight, so they'll definitely be getting a stern talking to before we get into the next round in Townsville in a week's time.
Indeed we will, but there's a battle starting to develop throughout the field. So the top 3 in this race is still very close. Chris McClellan is just holding off Scott Flack behind him, although he looks to be under pressure fairly early on in this race. Although they have to be careful that they don't let Craig Broadbent get away like he has done, like he did in the first race, and like a couple of the other leaders have been able to do tonight. Gabriel Nunez has found himself as one of the big winners from all of this. He's up in the 4th place, and I actually think that he's gotten himself by Matt Collins, so he's having a good run so far. Commentator's curse, I'm going to tap the wood on my desk to prevent that from happening, and there he is. He's focused and hard at work behind the wheel of the number 67 Ford Mustang, and he's also he will be under pressure from another Ford Mustang in the form of Matt Collins. But yeah, absolutely crazy start to the final race of the evening. And this could be a nice little battle that's developing as Matt Collins has just thrown it down the inside of Nunez and slots himself into 4th place.
Great job from Gabriel Nunez, top 4. He definitely likes the cleaner air up the front as he's very solid up here, lapping in the 106s at the moment. He's gonna Bill Cosmo behind him, also improve from the last ones. It looks like that looks like a revenge hit there. It's not on either. We don't condone that at Racecentre as we watch Brad Martin and David Baker. Although I'd have to say Pritchard's probably seen that coming. And that's a result of earlier incidences earlier in this 3rd race of the night.
Yeah, Pritchard has, well, especially in this 3rd race, has been involved in probably many of the paint trading incidents that we've seen so far early on, and I think that's Pritchard's just put it in the garage actually. I'm not sure if that's a retirement or if that might be as a result of all of the contact.
Yeah, I'd say that's a result of the earlier touch just then, but we'll have to review the race after the completion of this one, probably tomorrow when all the heat dies down.
Wallace seems to be out of the race as well, actually, in the Shell V-Power Mustang.
Okay, so there's...
And Christian Collins gone out of the race as well, so there's quite a few retirees early on in the endurance race, so to speak, tonight. But yeah, definitely casualties earlier on. It's just been an absolutely crazy race. I'm not sure if Eli Newman is still in the race as well, though it looks like he is, just trailing a long way behind Christian Collins as he makes up the position there. But the battle still rages at the front. It looks like Scott Flack has gone by on Chris McClellan, but there was obviously a lot to talk about. But yes, the championship battle continues at the front. This is the fight that we sort of missed out on at the end of last race. Obviously, Craig Broadbent didn't have the tyres to take the fight to Broadbent at the end of the race, but this is the fight. These guys are 1 and 2 in the championship, and it's all going to kick off now. It looks like Flack is going to have a look on Craig Broadbent. Does he have the straight line speed to make a move into turn 1? He doesn't want to do anything too rash. It's a very long race, and had a difficult race 1, and he won't want a repeat of that, although he's right behind Craig Broadbent, was almost looking to the outside there. Could have gone off the road, but he managed to make it stick. He's sitting right behind his championship rival. I think we're in for a good one.
Yes, the top two definitely showing us why they are up the front. Chris McClellan, with this result, may find himself moving up further up in the ladder in the championship, but we're yet to see. We're looking for Teb and Baker throughout the field. Once again, Harrison Teb not having the best of races. Neither is Christian Condon. Unfortunately, that's forced his retirement for the night.
It looks like Baker might be in the heat of the battle as well. Yeah, so there's...
Yes, as I said at the earlier start of the broadcast, you'll find these two guys together as they have been all year long. They love racing with each other because they know they've got the mutual respect and racecraft to make it interesting and fun for these two. Very healthy competition they love, as we see Baker just trying to get up on the inside there on the soft tyre. Sorry, the hard compound.
Yeah, and it looks like Martin might actually be drawn. Oh, sorry, Gabriel Nunes might be drawn into this, but actually no, they're just lapping Eli Newman at the moment, so that's disappointing for him to go a lap down. I think Newman's championship is really going to suffer from this race, but this battle is definitely continuing. Although, as I said before, Nunes is actually running quite far up the field. It's not quite where he was before, but he's still having a relatively good run. He's quite new to sim racing, I understand, is Nunes, but he's putting on a good show tonight. I think this will be quite good for his
hopefully
confidence.
It wasn't commentator's curse. You said it before, and I've said it all year long. As soon as we cross to them, that's when they fail. But let's just hope Nunes really concentrates on his tyres and his braking zones, braking a bit earlier each lap as the tyres go off, and playing with his brake bias as well, which is available to them for each driver. As the race goes on, you've really got to put more pressure towards the front to help the tyres. To help the actual braking, otherwise you're going to understeer into each corner. As we see Nunes really taking control of this race, race 3, lap 9 of 30.
See, I think the mental game is so important in sim racing. It's important in real life racing as well, but in sim racing you just have to stay calm and just try and avoid those mistakes. You've got to keep it under control. Obviously the mental game is one thing, but this is the longest race of the night, and this is where the strategy is going to start to play into this. I believe different drivers are running on different tyres, so they'll be using different strategies, and all of this is going to work out as the race plays out. We saw some guys being able to run the soft tyre late into the race in some of the earlier events, although some of them weren't able to do that. We've got 3 soft runners at the front, but a bunch of hard runners behind them as well who are yet to make their pit stops, and we'll see how all this plays out. There's a lot of running left to go, and a lot of battles left to be had, and a lot of strategies to play out as well. This is going to be an enthralling finish to the night.
Well, we definitely see Matt Collins here in the Monster Energy car switching cars before race 3. He's definitely loving the Ford, as we can see him moving up into P3, but on the softs I think he's pushing it too hard. We're just in a third of the way along. We could see Collins actually pitting twice this time, where McClellan's just like, okay Matt, you can go, your pace is too hot for me, I need to be sticking to the 105.5s to make these tyres last and to reduce it to a 1-stopper. Matt Collins is lapping in the 105.7s that last lap, but we'll see what he does this lap as he's progressed into P3.
Obviously, yeah, all the soft runners, they're yet to pit, and all the hard runners are yet to pit. So do you want to be having to be on the slower tyre towards the end of the race? Do you want to have to be extending the tyre life of the softs at the end of the race? It's all yet to play out. What you can do sometimes is run your first stint very, very long, and then catch up to all the guys who are running on worn tyres towards the end of the race. So it'll also be interesting to see not only what tire compounds everybody's on, but when they make their pit stops as well. So strategy, it's a very, very important part of how this night is going to play out, as are races for track position. And I think we're going to see a few of those races for track position play out in just a moment's time, as David Baker's starting to catch up to Nunez. So Nunez will have to go on the defensive, but I think also people have just got to keep their heads cool, avoid mistakes, and just try and bring the thing across the finish line without having any incidents that they do not want to be involved in.
Yes, we can see Teb also moving on the back of Baker. He's on currently on hard, so that strategy mentioned before, we saw that play out at Baku in the Formula 1, where, if you're not sure, Ricciardo started on the hards and tried to go long, but it proved that the harder tyre was actually the faster tyre. He couldn't get those mediums to get in the zone, so he was losing a lot of time and unable to get to the back of Alonso. Sorry if there's any spoilers if you haven't actually watched it yet, but it's not giving away any positions, but Ricciardo did go the opposite to the rest of the field, and he loves to do that. You always see him do the opposite tyre and go, look, you guys do that strategy, I'm going to try this one. Doesn't always play out, but it didn't do too badly for Ricciardo in Baku. But sometimes the faster, softer tyre is not always the fastest, I should say. So we'll see. Again, like you said, let's see who's got the pace towards the end of the race, not in the first third of the race. As we see McLennan, there it is.
Oh.
And that's McLennan. I think that's, unfortunately, he's having a lot of issues with his PC. The last few races,
no.
Yes, he's done that from the lead as well. So electrical issues has forced an early retirement from Chris McLennan right when he was claiming third position. So this is definitely given up the front now.
That is so unfortunate.
Yes, I mean, he must be throwing his headset. He's on VR and he's had a lot of interruptions and a lot of failures. Flax into the pits.
First to blink of the leaders, he's coming in.
Is this the undercut, Jack? We're not too sure.
It might be. We'll have to watch Broadbent to see when and where he pits. And it'll also be interesting to see where Scott Flax cycles out. I was about to talk about alternate strategies as well. So you mentioned Ricciardo, but in the context of this race, if we want to talk about maybe Harrison Tebb, and a couple of the guys towards the back of the top 10, and if you were involved in the opening skirmishes, do you maybe try something to bring yourself back into the fray? You might not have a lot to lose anyway, so it might be worth a shot. But yes, Scott Flack, the first of the leaders to make their pit stops. Now we just have to see. All eyes will probably turn towards Craig Broadbent to see what he does, as Gabriel Nunez finds himself in third place, but I'm assuming he is yet to pit. He's currently running around on the hard tyres, but the strategy game is starting to play out for the first time tonight.
Well, we saw Flack exiting on soft, so I'm not too sure if he's going to go again or whether he's going to go, look, this is the undercut, I can handle an extra 2 laps, let me punch out my fast laps when I've got clean track and then sort it out towards the end of the race. I know Broadbent is one of those guys that will take the softs close to the end and then pit towards the end of the race.
Which, yeah, that's the overcut strategy I was talking about before, and I think that is the Monster Energy Mustang that has just come to pit road as well. But, yeah, so Scott Flack was able to do half the race on the soft tyres, well, almost half the race, so it'll be interesting to see if he can do the other half of the race on the soft tyres. But what that does leave him vulnerable to is if it comes down to a battle with Craig Broadbent on the final lap, like it did in race 2 tonight, then he'll probably be the one that comes off slightly worse. But anything can happen, obviously. And we saw, I think that was Matt Collins who'd come in for his pit stop just a second ago.
Yes, it was.
And it'll be interesting, as we were saying before, it'll be interesting to see who's actually made their tyres last to this point in the race. As Nunez has found himself yet to pit up in second place, although he's now under pressure from David Baker.
Here comes Flack too. Flack with fresh rubber. Look at him go. These guys haven't pitted yet, so it's compressed the whole field up for P2. Flack's eager to get out of this melee. He does not want to get stuck behind this. This will ruin his strategies. He takes P3 from Baker, but now he's on the back. And here comes Craig Broadbent. There's the undercut we were talking about. Look at this.
Four-way into turn one.
Oh my God, how's this going to turn out? I've got my eyes closed, but I can't help it. I'm looking through my fingertips.
Straight up the inside, and Scott Black has taken the lead. He's got 2 cars in one corner, and now David Baker is in behind Gabriel Nunes. But Craig Broadbent has found himself all the way down in 4th place. Obviously, Nunes nets a pit, but that is absolutely crucial, as now David Baker has gone down the inside of Craig Broadbent, and I think he might be the loser here. But while all this is happening, Craig Broadbent and Scott Black have both made their pit stops, but all that's happening to Broadbent now is he's stuck behind 2 cars that haven't made a stop yet, and Black is going straight on into the race lead.
We can see the gap.
Absolutely crucial.
We can see the gap already opening up now to over 2 seconds as Broadbent's getting stuck in this strategy. His engineer should have let him know that he'd be re-entering in traffic, and this is what it costs. It's cost him over 2.5 seconds at least. Almost 3 seconds now as they cross the line between Flack and Broadbent. We've got Nunes in between doing a fantastic job too. This is still racing for position, so he does not need to get out of the way for Broadbent. He's still racing for position.
A bit of a wiggle, but he's managing to hold Broadbent behind him. This is a real, while it's out of sync with the strategy, this is a really cool battle that's playing out for 2nd, 3rd and 4th here. But all it's doing is benefiting Scott Flack, as we said. And this is crucial and very, very exciting. But it looks like Broadbent, he's going to try a move on Gabriel Nunes.
He's going to go around the outside, but Nunes is squeezing him. This could happen. He'll have better brakes under here. Broadbent definitely stronger as he stays on the track, 2 wheels on. You can see the dust kicking up as they come down the main straight.
And now Nunes is also under pressure from David Baker here. I'm not sure if Nunes, I mean, he was putting up a very stout defense against Broadbent, but I'm not sure if that's actually benefited Nunes there, although I think he might just be having a little bit of fun out on track. So I think Nunes' real race, I'm not sure if Baker's pit yet. Oh, and Nunes has run a little bit wide, which has opened the door for David Baker, which I think that's who his real race is with. And with a bit of a wiggle, David Baker has found himself in 3rd place, making the move on Gabriel Nunes. And has Baker made a stop yet?
No, he hasn't. He's still on his hard tyres. You can see the yellow compound. That's saying that he's on the harder compound, and so is Nunes. So these guys have still got plenty of grip. I'm looking over to Baker, and he's still got plenty of tread left. He can almost go the whole race, but I think with 3 laps to go, he'll be creeping just to get the car around to see the finish line. But there it is. That's Broadbent P2, Baker and Nunes, your top 4 at the moment, with Flack now a full 5, almost 6 seconds out in front ahead of this group. That's enough breathing space with 11 laps to go. We'll have a look at the timing screens to see who is catching who, and it looks like Scott Flack just posting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:03.659. He's definitely making this work for him. He's grinning ear to ear under that helmet of his as we P4 belongs to Matt Collins back in the Monster Energy car. Baker pitting now.
But we saw with McClellan in the 2nd race, you can have a 5-second lead, but if you make a mistake, you can very easily lose that lead as easily as you built it up. But obviously Broadbent, the big loser from that battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, as David Baker has blended out just ahead of Martin as he comes back into the road. Right, Bradley Martin in the Team Navy car, who will now be chasing down his rival.
So we can see on the screen there who has pitted now as it all plays out. Nunes still out in P3, yet to pit. He should come in now. There's no point staying out there if the other guys are closing in on him. He needs more than 10 laps to make up that deficit, I'd say. So him, Cosmo and Eli Newman are yet to pit in the top 10 at the moment. So the rest have unfortunately DNF, which is unfortunate. But back up front, Broadbent is closing down. That last lap of Broadbent definitely claimed fastest lap of the race with a 103.4 and put almost a full second on Scott Flack out in P1. So you can see the times coming down now, only 4.4 seconds. I did say I don't think he'll get it done, but there he is coming round onto the main straight. You can visually see the gap there. Broadbent coming in the screen. Broadbent only 4.4 seconds. We'll see if we cross the line. Down to 3.9 now. That's half a second quicker, just that lap alone. So if we do that 9 times, we're under the 4.5 seconds. So yes, we will see Broadbent at that rate on the back of Flack towards the end of the race, and this will give us a ding-dong battle for the... This will actually decide who wins the round as well. So whoever wins this race will... If Flack wins, they'll be equal on points, but because Flack actually won the race, he'll take the honours. If Broadbent wins, he'll definitely take the round win. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the championship points towards the end of the race.
So remind me, what tyres is Craig Broadbent on at the moment? Because it could be a case of Flack's... Oh, they're both on the softs. Okay, so I think maybe Flack's softs are just starting to fall away on the sweet spot which they normally be in, and Broadbent's tyres are yet to do that, so he's actually starting to reel him in. And the fact that he's hitting lap traffic as well, it's very impressive that Flack has actually been able to put a lap on Harrison Tebb, that going through the traffic is not helping his pace at the moment, and that'll be bringing Broadbent closer still to him.
Yes, we saw Broadbent just squeeze up another half a second there, but like you were saying with Flack, he has had a couple of more laps. Remember, Flack is on the undercut, and Broadbent's on the overcut. So there is 3 or 4 laps difference in those tyres between the two. Has Broadbent spent a lot of those tyres trying to get round Nunes and Baker? Has Flack's had a cleaner race out in front, just trying to gain? Did he spend too much tread trying to get himself further up the field, which further out in front? Like, he did build a 5.5 second gap to Broadbent, but this could be exactly what he needed to stay ahead of Broadbent. We've got Tebb in the middle here. Tebb's no slouch as he gives way to Broadbent, making it easy for Broadbent to chase down. Oh no. Looks like we have... Okay, we do apologise. We did lose internet there for a while, so we're going to have to take the standings as it was when the race actually finished, when we lost signal. But it looks like Scott Flack and Craig Broadbent have finished the race. It looks like Scott Flack still out in front. Ahead of Craig Broadbent. We're trying to rejoin and scrambling to bring up position as we bring up the leaders now as they're on lap.
Running around on lap 29, it would seem. So it looks like, hopefully, we'll be treated to the final battle that we were so very much looking forward to. Craig Broadbent has closed the 5-second gap built up by Scott Flack to just over half a second. We've got about a lap and a half to go, and this is going to be a good one. Scott Flack is on all the tyres, but we don't know what condition Broadbent's tyres are in because he had to overtake David Baker and Gabriel Nunes, who were out of sync with their pit stops. And of course, as we've said many times throughout the broadcast, these are the two championship protagonists at the moment. It's Ford versus Holden, Flack versus Broadbent. We've got one final lap to go. Broadbent is going to have his first opportunity to take the lead from Flack into the first corner, but I think he's a little bit too far back to make a move unless he's feeling very brave, which looks like he is.
Almost got it there. I'm sure he's waiting. This is the last lap of the race, so Broadbent hasn't got many corners to make the move, but he's trying his best as he's right up the back bumper of Scott Flack there.
How brave is Broadbent feeling? How committed is he willing to be? How much is he willing to put his championship campaign on the line to win this race? Of course, every point counts, every position counts. Every single decision made could influence the championship standings at the end of the season. Scott Flack is just managing to keep Broadbent behind. He's got a couple more corners to go.
Eli Newman's just getting out of the way just in time, so it's going to be a sprint down the main straight, Jack.
What's his exit been like? It doesn't look like it's been perfect. Craig Broadbent is all over the back of Scott Flack. I'm not sure he has the straight line speed to do it.
And he's done it.
Scott Flack who wins race number 3 at Hidden Valley, and that rounds off the night.
That's a great job from Scott Flack. Flack taking out the round. That's in on that that first pit stop. Not good strategy from Broadbent. And we can see there that it really cost him the round win and the race win in race 3. But what an event, what a race they've given us tonight here at Racecentre in round 6 of the V8 Championship. Can't wait to see them at Townsville. This is going to be a humdinger of a championship. So we'll go through the field, which will need to be edited once we sort out the internet issues and what positions people were in. We can see Teb in the background just congratulating Broadbent there. Collins taking P3. This is provisional, so that's Brad Martin coming home for P4. Teb will take 5. Bill Cosmo moving up into P6. Nunez finishing in P7, but again we will need to adjust those results and announce the championship at the start of the next broadcast, which we'll get to that in a second. We'll just wait for Bill Cosmo to cross the line.
It was 0.15.
Wow.
Separating Scott Flack and Craig Broadbent. What a... It was so... I think we're very lucky that the internet came on right at the end of the race. I think we would treat... Well, there was no overtake for position and no extreme last lap pass. I think we were treated to a very tense finish to that race, and I think we were lucky to see it nonetheless. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see where all the point standings sit after this one. And there it is, Scott Flack. He is the winner for the final race of the evening, and will I'm assuming is the round winner for tonight.
Yes.
As Harrison Tebb is giving us a display of donuts on the front straight. He's doing a NASCAR-style burnout against the barrier. It's Craig Broadbent, couldn't get it done. Finishes in second place ahead of Matt Collins, Bradley Martin, Harrison Tebb, Bill Cosmo, Gabriel Nunez, Eli Newman, David Baker, and Chris McLennan rounding off the top 10. Further back, it's Christian Cond in P11 ahead of the debutant Matthew Pritchard in 12th, who will find himself in the steward's room, I would assume, after a very, very hectic start to the final race of the evening, ahead of Mark Wallace in the Shell V-Power Mustang, rounding off the field in 13th.
Okay, so that brings us up to our next broadcast. Well, let's go to the next race for the V8. So make sure you join us, round 7 at Townsville, and that'll be on the 6th of July. So that's a few weeks away yet. About 3 weeks away now. So that's the next round of the V8s. But for us here at Racecentre and Entertainment Park, you're more than welcome to come and race with us for next round of the British Touring Car. Will be at Teretonga. So that'll be New Zealand. That's a great track, and that'll bring some awesome racing, hopefully compressing the field for an open flat race there at Teretonga. Not a very undulating circuit, but very challenging nonetheless, very short, so very hard to pass. This will compress the field together, I'm hoping. So make sure you join us for the next round of the British Touring Cars on the 22nd of June. That is next Wednesday. So Jack MacKenzie from Triple Crown Racing, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you join us again for the next round of the V8, even the British Touring Cars. Have you had a great time tonight? Have we delivered?
I've had an excellent time tonight. Thank you very much. I'm very appreciative of the fact that you allowed me to come on the comms for tonight. It was some very exciting racing, and I absolutely enjoyed calling it. If you want to hear my voice a bit more, my stuff is in the description below, as is all the relevant stuff, all the relevant socials for Racecentre. Please go check all of those things out. It would be very, very much appreciated. And thank you very much for having me. I'll hand it back over to Shane.
No worries. Thanks for that, Jack. And yes, definitely we'll see you on the next round of the Racecentre Leagues. Okay, so that brings us to the conclusion of the race. We hope you enjoyed the telecast. We enjoyed bringing it to you, and definitely delivered some great racing for you at Hidden Valley. That concludes the coverage, so we'll see you next time.